Hi everyone, my name is Mary Attard and I'm a partner for Cybersecurity and Digital Trust based in Australia. And we're here to talk about the latest Global Digital Trust Insight Survey 2022. With me today is Sean Joyce, our Global Cybersecurity and Privacy Leader. Hi Sean.
Hey Mary, thanks for having me.
So Sean, how is the Global Digital Trust Insight Survey different to other surveys that are out there?
The reason I think it's very different is really this survey, the DTI survey, is looking at the entire C-suite. So it's looking at over 3,600 business executives, 600 of which are CEOs, and it's really how the C-suite as a whole touches this issue. So it's about how do they all influence cybersecurity? What role do they play, which is critical for the entire C-suite in making sure, right, they're part of this equation that is really helping make their organization a trusted organization. And we've all heard a lot about trust over the last couple of years. And I think in cybersecurity, it's one of the key ways that all of these executives play a critical role to make sure that they're protecting their brand and their company reputation.
And this year's survey has 4 key areas. What are the key areas that the survey covers?
I think first, right, it is about how CEOs are actually involved in managing this risk as leaders of their organization. Second is, how are they looking at simplifying and mitigating this risk within their organization? Third is, how do they know that they've dealt with this risk effectively? Are they asking all the right questions? Are they making the right investments? Are they getting the right resources? And then the last is, how within their ecosystem, when you think of third party, when you think of supply chain, how are they actually managing that risk? So I think it's very different than things that we did historically. If you remember, for 17 years, we had the Global State of Information Security Survey. And in 2018, we took the opportunity to change that to the Digital Trust Insights Survey. And the reason we did that is because the environment that we all live in has changed, and we all live in the digital world. So how do we actually provide something to all those people that we work with day in and day out that is valuable to the entire organization?
Sean, there's some great findings in the survey. Of the many findings, what stands out for you most and what's your key takeaway?
I think probably the most important thing that stands out to me is how much CEOs think they're involved in managing cyber risk, and then how much I think the CISOs think differently of how much the CEOs are actually involved. So it's an interesting, I think, perspective where I think a lot of the leaders out there feel that they're very involved in managing this risk and that they're aware that it could affect their organization. But sometimes the people that are part of their team are not always sharing that feeling that there is maybe as involved as they could be, or maybe as involved as they should be.
We're hearing a lot about the CEOs, the C-suite. Does the role of the CEO matter? What role should they play?
So I think they play a critical and vital role because they lead the organization. And as a leader of an organization, you're responsible for really setting that tone, right? Establishing that culture in the organization, right? When I look at cybersecurity, it is a team sport. And that CEO is the leader of the team. And so how do they make sure that that culture of cybersecurity is pervasive throughout the organization? How do they make sure that everyone understands their role and that they're part of that broader team? So I really think that's critically important, and it's only one really that the CEO can play.
I love that description, Sean, that it's a team sport, because absolutely agree with you there. It's the CEO and the C-suite. But what about the boards? What's the role that they play?
Their responsibility is to provide that oversight and fiduciary responsibility for the organization. And I think what we've seen is really I would say, a movement by board members to become much more involved in making sure that they're providing the right oversight of this risk. And so, we've worked with the World Economic Forum, the National Association of Corporate Directors, and others to provide the boards with some guidance on governance of cyber risk from a board perspective. We've even developed a toolkit to help them on their educational journey to make sure they're aware of the regulatory and legal environment that they're providing that oversight in, to make sure they're familiar with the frameworks that are used in managing this risk. So I think the board also has a very critical role, and it's also one that is becoming, I think, much more front and center, where regulators are actually looking at boards and saying, are you properly providing the oversight that you should be?
The role of CEOs and the board is so important, Sean. What's your advice to CEOs and boards about their role and improving cybersecurity for their organization?
My advice would be stay involved and get more involved, and understand that it all starts at the top. And we talked about tone from the top and culture, and that, as leading that team, that they play that vital role and to stay involved. The other thing is, don't be afraid to ask questions. This is a new area for all of us. Policymakers struggle with it. Legislators struggle with it. I think even businesses struggle with it. And we're in this journey together. So how do we collectively come together, get smarter about it, learn more about it, and actually manage it more effectively together?
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for your time today. And thanks, everyone, for listening. Be sure to visit our website and download our report to get full access to the latest Global Digital Trust Insight Survey.